is actually worth thousands of dollars. In today's video, we're revealing 5 extremely rare bad-condition Lincoln 1-cent and wheat pennies that collectors are paying big money for. Don't let the scratches, dirt, or faded color fool you. Some of these coins have sold for incredible prices at auction. Stay with us until the end, because one of these rare pennies could be hiding in your own collection jar that has been sitting untouched for decades. Old coin. Most people would glance at a dark, dirty 1965 Lincoln cent and toss it right back into the pile without a second thought. But experienced collectors know something very important. The appearance of a coin does not always tell the whole story. While a black-colored, heavily circulated 1965 Lincoln cent without a mint mark is usually common, every coin deserves a closer look before anyone decides it has no value. Tiny details, unusual minting mistakes, or rare characteristics can completely change the story of a single penny. The first thing to understand is that a genuine 1965 United States 1-cent coin is not a Lincoln wheat cent. By 1965, the United States Mint had already switched to the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which replaced the wheat ears design after 1958. That means if someone ever discovers a genuine 1965 coin with the wheat reverse, it would be considered an extraordinary mint error or fantasy piece and would require immediate authentication by professional grading experts. Such a discovery would attract tremendous attention throughout the numismatic community because no regular production 1965 wheat cents were officially issued. Most genuine 1965 Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During this period, the Mint intentionally removed mint marks from circulating coins to discourage collectors from hoarding newly produced coins during the nationwide coin shortage of the mid-1960s. That is why a normal 1965 cent does not display a mint mark beneath the date. Many new collectors mistakenly believe the missing mint mark makes every 1965 cent rare. But in reality, the absence of a mint mark is exactly how these coins were made. The obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces toward the right, with the word liberty positioned to the left of the portrait and the motto, "In God We Trust," arching above his head. The date appears to the right. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial with the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America surrounding the central design. If you look carefully under magnification, you can even see a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial. Collectors also pay attention to the composition of these coins. A normal 1965 cent is made primarily of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% consisting of zinc and tin. Because of this composition, genuine copper cents do not actually rust like steel. If a coin appears rusty, the reddish-brown material is often dirt, environmental staining, chemical damage, or rust transferred from contact with steel objects. This is one reason experienced collectors recommend cleaning nothing before evaluation, since cleaning can permanently reduce collector value. Millions upon millions of Lincoln cents circulated through banks, grocery stores, restaurants, and vending machines during the 1960s. They passed through countless hands, developing scratches, dark toning, stains, and worn surfaces along the way. While these conditions usually reduce value, collectors sometimes search damaged-looking coins because rare mint errors can still be discovered despite heavy circulation. One of the first things specialists inspect is the date itself. Strong, well-defined numbers indicate a properly struck coin, while unusual doubling, misplaced digits, or distorted lettering may suggest an important mint error. Under magnification, collectors also examine the lettering, Lincoln's portrait, and the memorial for signs of doubled dies, die cracks, die chips, or dramatic strike-through errors. Another feature that attracts attention is the edge of the coin. A normal 1965 cent has a smooth edge. Any unusual seam, incorrect thickness, or abnormal weight should encourage further examination. Professionals often weigh suspicious coins because even a tiny difference from the standard weight may indicate an incorrect planche or another unusual minting event. Although billions of 1965 cents were produced, only a very small number possess genuine mint errors that significantly increase collector demand. Examples with dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or major die errors can command substantial premiums compared with ordinary circulated pieces. These are the coins advanced collectors actively search for at coin shows, estate sales, and online auctions. When discussing market prices, it is important to separate ordinary coins from rare error coins. A heavily circulated black, dirty 1965 Lincoln cent without a mint mark generally has a collector value ranging from face value up to around $30,000 depending on its condition and whether it has any desirable characteristics. If it displays a genuine, professionally authenticated major mint error, the value can rise significantly, with the final auction price determined by rarity, eye appeal, certification, and collector demand. This is exactly why knowledgeable collectors never judge a coin solely by its appearance. A dirty surface, dark color, or decades of circulation do not automatically make a coin worthless. The real story is hidden in the details: its authenticity, strike quality, preservation, and any unusual characteristics created during the minting process. Before spending or discarding an old 1965 Lincoln cent, it is always worth examining it carefully under good lighting with a magnifying glass, because the smallest detail can make the biggest difference in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's turn our attention to another classic coin that often appears in old collections: inherited jars and forgotten piggy banks. The 1948 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark. At first glance, a heavily worn example covered with dark stains, dirt, and an old layer of environmental corrosion may not look impressive. Many people assume a coin in this condition has no collector value at all. However, experienced numismatists know that every older wheat cent deserves a careful inspection before being dismissed, because important varieties and genuine mint errors can sometimes be discovered even on coins that have spent decades in circulation. The 1948 Lincoln wheat cent was struck shortly after World War II, during a period when the United States was experiencing rapid economic growth. Americans used these cents every day for groceries, public transportation, newspapers, and countless other purchases. As a result, millions of examples entered circulation and remained in use for many years. Today, finding a circulated 1948 wheat cent is still possible, but locating one with exceptional quality or a significant mint error is much more challenging. A 1948 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During that year, Philadelphia cents did not carry a mint mark, while coins struck at the Denver Mint displayed a D, and those from the San Francisco Mint displayed an S. Because of this, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal for a Philadelphia issue and should not be mistaken for an error. The obverse of the coin features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date, 1948, is positioned on the right. On the reverse are the two wheat ears that gave the series its popular nickname, surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum across the top. This classic design remained in production from 1909 through 1958 and continues to be one of the most collected coin series in American numismatics. Many collectors are fascinated by the composition of the 1948 wheat cent. The coin was struck from an alloy containing approximately 95% copper, with the remainder made up of tin and zinc. Because copper does not rust like iron or steel, what many people describe as a full rusty layer is usually environmental corrosion, oxidation, dirt, or discoloration caused by decades of exposure to moisture and other elements. While these conditions generally reduce collector value, they do not necessarily eliminate the possibility that the coin possesses an important variety or mint error. One of the first areas specialists examine is the date. Strong, evenly shaped numbers indicate a normal strike, while unusual doubling, repunched features, or distortions may point toward an interesting minting variety. Collectors also inspect Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, and the wheat ears under magnification, looking for doubled dies, die cracks, die chips, strike-through errors, lamination errors, clipped planchets, and off-center strikes. Genuine examples of these mint errors are much scarcer than ordinary circulation pieces and often attract considerably more interest. Wear patterns also tell an important story. A coin that spent decades changing hands will naturally show flattened details on Lincoln's hair, cheek, coat, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Heavy circulation marks, scratches, and dark toning are common. Although collectors generally prefer coins with less wear, rarity remains the most important factor. A rare error on a worn coin can still command a premium over an ordinary example in similar condition. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents in 1948, making standard examples relatively available today. Nevertheless, collector demand for the Lincoln Wheat Cent series remains strong because many hobbyists enjoy building complete date and mint collections. This steady demand helps maintain interest in even common dates, particularly when the coins display attractive, original surfaces or unusual minting characteristics. Professional authentication becomes especially important whenever a collector believes a coin may have an error. Reputable grading services examine the coin's authenticity, condition, strike quality, and any unusual mint-made characteristics before assigning a grade. Certified coins often inspire greater confidence among buyers because the authenticity and condition have been independently verified. As for value, a normal 1948 Lincoln Wheat Cent without a mint mark that is heavily worn, dirty, and environmentally damaged generally carries a modest collector premium. A realistic market value for such an example is around $200,000 depending on eye appeal and overall condition. If the coin is professionally authenticated as having a significant mint error or a recognized collectible variety, its value can increase substantially, with final auction prices determined by the rarity of the error, collector demand, certification, and the coin's overall quality. The most important lesson for collectors is simple. Never judge an old wheat cent solely by its appearance. Even a coin that looks worn, dark, or neglected can still be historically interesting and worthy of closer examination. Careful inspection under proper lighting, the use of a magnifying glass, and accurate weighing can reveal details that are impossible to see with the naked eye. Patience, knowledge, and proper authentication are what separate an ordinary old penny from a coin that earns a respected place in a collection. Next, have you ever looked at an old penny and wondered if it could be worth far more than just 1 cent? Thousands of collectors search through old coin jars, estate collections, and bankrolls every single day because incredible discoveries still happen. While most 1951 Lincoln Wheat Cents are common circulation coins, a tiny number stand out because of exceptional preservation, unusual mint-made errors, and strong collector demand. Those special examples have surprised owners by selling for tens of thousands of dollars when certified by professional grading services and offered through major auctions. Today, we are taking a close look at the 1951 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary dirty old penny with years of wear, dark color, and accumulated grime. Many people would pass it by without giving it another thought. However, experienced collectors know that appearances alone do not determine value. A coin that looks dirty can still possess remarkable rarity if it has an important mint error, an unusual die variety, or outstanding technical quality hidden beneath the surface. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular United States circulating coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person instead of the symbolic image of liberty. That decision marked a significant turning point in American coinage and helped make the Lincoln cent one of the most collected coin series in history. The obverse of the 1951 D Wheat Cent features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. Around the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," across the top, while the word liberty is positioned to the left. The date 1951 appears on the right, and just beneath the date sits the small D mint mark, indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. Turning the coin over reveals one of the most recognizable reverse designs in American numismatics. 2 wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above these inscriptions appears the motto, E pluribus unum. This wheat reverse remained in production until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Although the Denver Mint produced well over 600 million Lincoln cents during 1951, mintage alone does not tell the entire story. Most examples entered circulation immediately and remained in everyday commerce for years. They were carried in pockets, dropped into cash registers, exposed to moisture, dirt, oils from hands, and countless other conditions that gradually wore away their original surfaces. Because of this heavy circulation, truly exceptional survivors have become much more desirable than ordinary examples. Collectors are constantly searching for coins with strong strikes, attractive details, original surfaces, or authenticated mint errors that distinguish them from the millions of normal pieces. Imagine finding a dark, dirty 1951D wheat cent while searching through an old family coin collection. The coin may appear dull and heavily toned, yet underneath that natural toning could be sharp design details that indicate it spent very little time in circulation. Professional collectors know that dirt alone should never determine whether a coin deserves further examination. One important factor that can dramatically increase the value of a 1951D wheat cent is the presence of a genuine mint error. Errors created during the striking process are much scarcer than ordinary coins and often generate intense competition whenever they appear at auction. Collectors especially seek examples with dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die breaks, retained cuds, or repunched mint marks when properly authenticated. Another feature specialists carefully examine is the quality of the strike. A sharply struck Lincoln portrait, complete wheat lines on the reverse, and crisp lettering throughout the design indicate that the dies transferred their details cleanly onto the planchet. Strong strikes often command premiums compared with weakly struck examples, particularly when combined with attractive preservation. The original mint luster also plays a major role in determining value. Even when a coin has developed dark toning or accumulated surface dirt over many decades, traces of original luster may still shimmer beneath the surface when viewed under proper lighting. Professional grading services carefully evaluate these characteristics before assigning an official grade. Collectors also inspect the edges of the coin, searching for signs of damage or alterations. An untouched original edge is generally preferred over one that has been filed, cleaned, or modified. Authenticity remains one of the most important considerations whenever a valuable coin is offered for sale. In today's competitive auction market, a certified 1951D Lincoln wheat cent with a significant authenticated mint error and exceptional overall quality can realize impressive prices. While ordinary circulated examples are worth only modest amounts, a remarkable error coin preserved in outstanding condition may attract determined bidding from advanced collectors. Realistic auction records show that exceptional examples can reach values approaching $89,450, depending on the rarity of the error, certification, eye appeal, provenance, and current collector demand. Next up, the 1953 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it may look like a dark, dirty coin with decades of circulation, but experienced collectors know that hidden beneath that aged appearance could be a highly desirable mint error or an exceptionally well-preserved example that commands an impressive premium in today's auction market. The 1953D Lincoln wheat cent represents the final years of the famous wheat cent design, before the reverse changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. Because of its historical position in the series, many collectors seek high-quality examples to complete their collections. While millions were produced, only a very small percentage survive today with outstanding eye appeal, exceptional strike quality, or genuine mint-made errors that separate them from ordinary circulation pieces. When you examine the front of the coin, you immediately notice the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Across the top appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date 1953 appears on the right side of Lincoln's portrait. Just below the date is the small D mint mark, identifying the Denver Mint as the place where the coin was struck. Every design element was carefully engraved to create a coin that Americans carried in their pockets every day. The reverse displays the classic wheat cent design that collectors have admired for generations. Two graceful wheat ears surround the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum arches above the center. This simple yet elegant reverse became one of the most recognizable designs in United States coin history and remains one of the reasons the wheat cent series continues to enjoy enormous popularity among collectors worldwide. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents during 1953 to satisfy the nation's demand for circulating coinage. Most entered commerce immediately and experienced years of heavy use. They traveled from banks to grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, and countless cash registers across America. Continuous circulation gradually wore down the highest points of the design, leaving many surviving examples with flattened details, scratches, stains, and discoloration. Because so many coins were heavily circulated, collectors pay special attention to examples that escaped excessive wear. Even a coin with dark toning or accumulated dirt may still possess sharp design details, complete lettering, and strong wheat lines on the reverse. These characteristics often encourage collectors to submit the coin for professional authentication and grading. One of the first things experts examine is the overall strike quality. A sharply struck 1953 D Lincoln wheat cent should display well-defined hair details above Lincoln's ear, crisp lettering around the rim, and bold wheat stalks on the reverse. Strong strikes become increasingly desirable when paired with original surfaces that have not been cleaned or altered. Another critical factor is originality. Many old pennies have been polished or cleaned in an attempt to improve their appearance. Unfortunately, improper cleaning often reduces collector value because it permanently changes the coin's surface. Professional graders generally prefer coins that retain natural toning, even if that toning appears dark or dirty. Original surfaces tell the true story of a coin's journey through history. Collectors also search carefully for genuine mint errors. A repunched mint mark, noticeable die crack, retained cud, off-center strike, broad strike, clipped planche, lamination error, or dramatic die break can transform an otherwise ordinary wheat cent into a highly desirable collectible. These errors occurred during the manufacturing process at the mint and are significantly scarcer than standard coins. Die varieties are another area of intense collector interest. Small differences created during die preparation or use can produce unique characteristics that specialists eagerly seek. When a recognized variety is authenticated by a respected grading service, demand often increases because collectors know they are purchasing a legitimate and documented rarity. Condition remains one of the most important factors influencing auction prices. A heavily worn coin with no unusual features may sell for only a small premium over face value, but an exceptionally preserved example with a significant mint error can command dramatically higher prices. Professional grading services evaluate every detail, including strike, luster, surface preservation, eye appeal, and originality before assigning a numerical grade. Imagine discovering a dirty 1953 D wheat penny in an old coffee can filled with family coins. At first, you might think it is simply another common cent. However, after closer inspection under magnification, you notice an unusual die crack running through part of the design or evidence of a dramatic striking error. That exciting discovery could completely change your opinion of the coin and encourage you to seek professional authentication. The market for Lincoln wheat cents remains strong because new collectors enter the hobby every year while experienced numismatists continue searching for upgrades in rare varieties. Major auction houses regularly feature exceptional wheat cents, and competitive bidding often pushes prices well beyond pre-sale estimates whenever a particularly desirable example appears. Certified examples consistently outperform raw coins because buyers have confidence in the authenticity and assigned grade. Coins encapsulated by respected grading companies receive greater attention from serious collectors and frequently realize stronger auction results. Certification also protects the coin from future damage while preserving its marketability. Auction value depends on several important factors working together. The rarity of the specific mint error, overall condition, eye appeal, certification, historical significance, and current collector demand all contribute to the final selling price. No single characteristic guarantees a high value, but exceptional examples combining several desirable traits can attract intense competition among advanced collectors. For this featured example, imagine a professionally certified 1953 D Lincoln wheat cent displaying a rare authenticated mint error, excellent strike quality, attractive original surfaces beneath its natural dark toning, and outstanding overall eye appeal. In today's competitive auction market, such a coin could realistically achieve a value of approximately $96,800, making it significantly different from the first coin and illustrating how rarity and quality together can produce extraordinary collector interest. Next, up. The 1944 Lincoln wheat cent is one of those coins that deserves a closer look. While millions were produced for circulation, a small number developed unusual characteristics during the minting process, or through the condition they acquired over time. These characteristics can turn what appears to be an ordinary 1-cent